another graceful touch speaks out. But this is kind of a different one than normal because this is a graceful touch speaks out, speaks out. I'm actually going to have somebody interviewing me today about where we came from as massage therapists and entered into massage therapy. Her name is Brooke Cooper. She's going to be interviewing me. So I'm going to do a little bit of reversal of roles. Let me bring Brooke in. Hello, Brooke.
Hey, Guy.
Welcome to the call. And I'm going to give you the host hat, and I'm going to put on the interview hat. And just feel free to lead out, and I'll follow along accordingly as we talk about starting a new business in the 21st century. Get that new business being in massage therapy.
That sounds great. I appreciate you hopping on today. What I'm interested in is I love getting a good massage for sure. And I know personally how it has helped me whenever I feel super stressed out and different things like that. But I would love to know about how you got started. What was your motivation, how you ended up there? And then eventually I would like to talk about your experience with other people and how you've helped them through massage, specifically like stressed out parents, teenagers, if you ever work with kids, and we'll get to that. But yeah, just start out. Just tell me your story.
Well, what motivated me into getting into massage? Nothing. There is no possible way I would ever be a massage therapist. That's the interesting.
Yeah.
See, we were in St. Mary's in 2018. We'd been there for about 2 years, and we were living in a humble dwelling called teepee.
Wow.
Now, let me talk about St. Mary's for just a minute. St. Mary's is up in the mountains out of Idaho. During the winter, -20, 6 feet of snow.
Oh.
No,
thank you.
I see you feeling the pain, but it was an adventure. It was an interesting time in our life, and I wouldn't have tried it. It became apparent that we were going to need to move in May. And we didn't know exactly where because, the property we had been living on had pretty much drained all our resources. So we had really no income and no place to live. We knew we needed to move.
Okay.
And people had been telling my wife for a long time that she should be a massage therapist. Well, we thought that would be good if she didn't have dyslexia, because her condition of dyslexia qualified her from being a massage therapist, or so our thought went. Okay. But we started knocking on some doors and whatnot, and our church happens to have a program, massage therapy. So we call our church and the program there, and that's in South Dakota. So here we are in Rapid City, Idaho. They're in Hermosa, South Dakota. And the whole question was, when does your next program start? They typically only had one program a year running. That program did not start in May, but this year was going to be different. They had a program starting in May, the very same month that we had to move.
Oh, see, it's lining up.
Called them up, and we agreed that we would come forward. And then I called them the next day. So there's no possible way that we're coming for us, because I'm betting you want some money, and we have none of that. The Administrator said, well, just pray about it and see what God does. The very next week, we get a phone call from a friend. And they said, we want you to come over for dinner. So we came over for dinner, and they said, we understand why and how you guys have gotten in this situation. And we want to help. We will pay for your wife's schooling. And well, after I picked myself up off the floor, right?
Right.
Yeah. I called the administrator back and said, I guess we're coming so that she can go to school. Notice how the whole topic has been Irene, she, everything's over there, not here.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they made an offer for us both to go to school, which was an impressive offer. And
yes.
My answer was, I'm a soft scientist guy. I like communication. I like psychology. Hard sciences is not my forte. There's no way I'm interested, but then you are offering an incredible deal. Let me talk to the donors. And we spoke to them, and they said, yes, we'll take care of you. So suddenly, now it became both of us. We moved to South Dakota, and then we were there. The science teacher pulls me aside. He says, Guy, I'm really concerned about your wife. I said, Galen, why are you concerned about my wife? Well, she's got dyslexia, and I'm not sure she can pass my classes, let alone my tests. And I said, Galen, she's also got a purpose. She's also got a passion. She's also got a pursuit. There's not going to be any problem with her in your class. But I guarantee you, you have a problem in your class. And he said, I have a problem in my class? We haven't started class. And I said, yes, Galen, you absolutely 100% have a problem in your class. He said, well, then what's the problem? I said, you're looking at it. Because unlike my wife, who has the purpose, the passion, and the pursuit, I have none of that.
Right.
I'm not the least interested in massage. I'm not the least interested in hard sciences. And you're going to help me in your class and pass your test. I just want to wish you good luck out of the gate on that.
Oh, gosh.
So that's just a very, any questions about that aspect so far?
Well, I mean, I was just curious about her dyslexia. Was it just like the reading materials and the testing that they were afraid that was going to be her? Because as far as her ability, she would have the ability to do it.
Yes, and there are special accommodations for dyslexics in the program, but she used none of them.
Oh, wow, that's impressive. And that's also good to know because, there's a lot of people out there that maybe didn't realize.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, she didn't previous, but it would have taken a lot more time than what we had available, which you'll see as we go down the pike.
Okay.
So, shall we continue to the next page?
Continue. Yes.
Awesome. So then we're going to school and whatnot. About halfway through, God speaks to me. And he says, look for work. Well, God doesn't necessarily understand how things work down here on earth. So I had to, help out. Doesn't have to work well when you do that. But, that's where I was.
Yeah, I've been there.
And hang on a second. All right. Um, so basically, I advised to him that it's not likely that anyone at any level, in any time, in any way, is going to hire a halfway graduate individual, any, including massage.
Mm.
He's for work. So I go out
Okay.
onto Indeed.com,
Mm-hmm.
and I am the first entry I see is a company that will look for clients for you, and then you pay them based on the clients that they send you. I called them
Okay.
up. And I said, well, hey, whatnot. We hit it off really well, right off together, and we decided we work together until he asked one question: "Where's your office?"
Oh,
Well, I'm a broke
yeah.
student. I
Right.
don't have an office.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him that. He said, if you don't have an office, we can't work with you.
Mm.
And I said, send me your paperwork. Have an office.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't know how things work where you're at, and not, but what do you think the possibility is of finding an office on zero rent per month?
Yeah. Very slim. Very,
Yeah,
unless you got like a family member.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're the only ones in South Dakota. So basically, I said, we'll fill out the paperwork. My wife's there just like mouth wide open, eyes bugged out, and was like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And he sent the paperwork. I filled it out and sent it back. I had committed myself to something I knew I couldn't follow through with.
Mm.
And then I said, okay, I stepped in to fix
Right.
it.
Yes.
And we go to a chair massage outing, Shadron, Nebraska. And basically, it's a group of people to get together and give the community massage. There can be
Okay.
other things there as well, including the crazy water. Now, the crazy
Okay.
water lady wanted to talk about water. I didn't want to talk about water. I want to talk about massage. She wanted to talk about
Mm-hmm.
water. I didn't want to talk about water. I want to talk about massage. She wanted to talk about water. And then I came up with an idea. I asked her for a business card. See, I figured if I asked her for a business card, she would figure that she won, she'd leave me alone, and we'd be good to go.
Yeah.
I gave her my business
And
card, or she gave me her business card, and it worked out great, and we moved forward
awesome.
until we got back home. I'm going through some paperwork and whatnot, and her business card surfaces, and God says, call her.
Oh.
Well, God sometimes needs out on these geographical situations and whatnot. And I was more willing to step forward on that. And so I advised him that, I come from the Pacific. I love my mountains. Chadron, Nebraska is flat. I don't do
Mm.
flat. He said, call.
Oh.
Well, I call her instead of studying for my anatomy test. I give her a call, and guess what the crazy water lady wants to talk about?
Renting you a space? Or
No.
no? Giving you
Guess what
one?
the crazy water lady wants to talk about?
Oh, water.
There you go. Exactly. She wants to talk about water. I didn't want to talk about water. I want to talk about anatomy. She wants to talk about water.
Yes.
And then she said she knew of a couple here in Rapid City where we have a water store.
Mm.
Suddenly, guess who wanted to talk about water?
You.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have water and everything with massage, it just
Yep.
works out great.
Mm-hmm.
Called them up. We decided to get together, got together, decided to do business together, and then they lowered the boom. Well, the boom was, we understand your situation and we're willing to work with you. You owe no rent months unless you start doing really well. And thus, Grateful Touch Massage Therapy in Rapid City, South Dakota was born.
Wow. That's exciting.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
But it's only the beginning. Only the beginning. But any questions at this point?
I love how that you're just following, because sometimes you'll hear that or you'll get that nudge and you're just like, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't. And you talk yourself out of it. And then what happens? He brings it right back in front of you, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
And he did.
Say that this isn't something I woke up and was a bit doing right out of the gate. I've learned in the process. So we move in there and whatnot. It's humble beginnings. One of our that I mentioned in the 21st Century Massage Therapist book that I just finished reading yesterday actually talks about this room. And so did the negative customer review that we.
Yeah.
And she referred to the room as, well, it's the first time she'd ever had a massage in a utility closet. Well, honestly speaking, the utility closet, it was not a utility closet. It was the room right behind it. Sure did look like a utility closet. And that was just a humble beginnings.
Yeah. You got to start somewhere. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you one question. Was you guys, had you passed your test by this time, by the time you were getting in? Because I know it, when you started, you hadn't.
Excellent question. Let me get back to that one.
Okay.
When we, so we have our place that we're starting to do practice, but have you ever had a massage?
Oh, yes.
What is an absolute requirement for a massage?
For me, you got to have a table to be
you
on.
You got to have a table and some other supplies too. So we just thought, on the off chance, we'd call our bank and see if we could get a loan. And the answer was yes. We could get a $5,000 loan from them. And so from that, we started using the credit card material that we had and whatnot, and started paying off what we needed and whatnot. But the loans weren't coming through. So we called the bank and we said, what happened to this loan part? To which we heard a word that we didn't want to hear. Oops. There would be no $5,000 loan.
Oh no.
We had just put ourselves into a serious debt issue without the ability to pay for the debt that we had now occurred.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. As a result, we ended up having to file bankruptcy. Now, the reason I bring that up, and I don't always bring that up in every situation, but the reason I bring that up here is because of a miracle piece of this entire part. We had a Ford C-Max electric vehicle at that point. It was a very nice car. A very nice car, and we enjoyed driving the car. And then the day came into the bankruptcy. It said that we never had any previous problems with the car at all. I said, God, I need to know if this car needs to be on that bankruptcy. Now, to get from Hermosa to Rapid City is a good half hour to 45-minute drive. So we need some kind of vehicle. The minute I prayed that, car stopped working immediately. Right there in the middle, we couldn't go anywhere. It was done. I'm sitting in the
Wow.
middle. I'm not even in a parking spot. I'm sitting in the middle of the parking lot. So
Wow.
I get the message. I need to park this car over there in the parking lot because I had tried to turn it on. It wouldn't turn on.
Yeah.
I need to park this car over there in the parking lot. Could you please turn this car back on so I could do it, put it in the parking space? Turn the key,
Yeah.
car started immediately.
Oh my gosh.
I said,
That's giving
okay,
me
I
chills.
get the message. I drove it over to the parking space, put it in the parking space, went up, signed papers, made sure the car was on it, and then came back down. Well, a friend was down there to meet me as well. And they said, it's nothing much, but we have this car. It's got broken windows, cracked windows. The doors, you'll have to hold them on as you go down the road. But it became our miracle car
Wow.
because it was a miracle that it got anywhere. But it
Yeah.
always got there.
Uh-huh.
And when you drove it, you could hear us coming about a mile away.
Oh wow. Oh
And
goodness.
we drove over to the Ford dealer. Oh, I went to start the car. Car started without a problem. The one that it was on the bankruptcy. I
Yeah.
drove it over
Yeah.
to the Ford dealer and walked up to the counter, set my keys on the counter, turned around, started walking away. The
Yeah.
person behind the desk said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm giving you my car back." He said, "You can't just do that." I said, "That's strange because I just did it," and walked away. Better
Oh
than them
gosh.
having to come and tow it away, and just dropping my
Right.
car off
Yeah.
for you guys.
Yeah.
We got a call from Ford that said, "You can't do what you're doing." I said, "Talk to my attorney. I'm pretty sure that we got this figured out."
Yeah.
Well, once the bankruptcy went through, we never heard from them again.
Mm.
But in the process, part of what we got was business cards. And those business cards, my wife took some of them and went around handing them all out to physical therapists, chiropractors, and other body workers. That's one way to generate leads.
Yeah.
Good idea, right?
Yeah.
Flatline.
Wow.
Nothing. No clients came from that at all. Nothing. We never heard one word. We
Interesting.
built in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
But 8 months later, the owners of the water store said, "We want to retire and we want you to take over the water store," which
Wow.
would have been fine and good if we felt called to take over the water store, but we didn't.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, give us 30 days." Now, this is 8 months later afterwards. Give us
Okay.
30 days and we'll have you an answer as to what we'll do in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
The very next week, 8 months and a week later, we get
Mm-hmm.
a phone call. It's from a chiropractor. They're looking for a massage therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, "I'm sorry, we can't help you." And they say, wait, what? Why? I said, "Well, you said you're looking for a massage therapist.
Yeah.
My wife and I are both massage therapists. So you would need to be looking for massage therapists, not massage therapists." And she said,
Right.
"Well, we have 2 rooms." I said, "Well, then we have a conversation." We
I
got
love it.
together, we hit it off really well. It just, things were jiving just the way that it should. And they said, "Okay, draw up an email of everything you would need in order to move in.
Mm-hmm.
And we will send you back, our thoughts and whatnot." I did exactly that to a letter. We got a response back. Every single point that we had made that would be necessary for us as massage therapists,
Yeah.
was no.
No. Oh, I was hoping it was a yes.
So
It's
we,
just been roadblock after roadblock. I think we're here for an interesting story.
there you go. There
Yeah.
you go. So then we decided, well, we'll open up our own clinic. We got together with some relatives. We found a space and whatnot. And the landlord said, okay, we want to you. Just drop an email of everything that you would need in order to move in. Gee, I think I'd heard this before. And we'll just roll it all into your rent. Well, we did exactly that. To which we responded, it got a response back. I was talking basic. Well,
Wow.
that shut that door.
Yeah.
And I turned to God and I said, God, you brought us to a place I would never live. I remember being in Spokane, Washington, and hearing today in Rapid City, South Dakota, it will be a negative 45.
Ugh.
And thinking, gee, I'm sure glad I don't live there.
Yes.
And now I did.
I know you do. Oh
Into a
gosh.
trade that I would never do.
Mm-hmm.
My dad got me into pornography, and so it discolored everything. God spoke to me at one point during that time, and He said, "You enjoy looking at what you're looking at." I said, "Yes, I do."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "If that was your daughter, would you enjoy it?" I said, "No, sir, I would not."
Mm-hmm.
And then He said something that changed my life forever as it related to the whole topic of pornography.
Mm-hmm.
She's somebody's daughter.
Yeah.
And I said at that point that I'm not interested in that.
Right.
And I walked away from it.
Yeah.
Now, this many, over 40 years later, now I'm going to be working with males and females within just to look at what God did in that whole equation is just amazing to me.
Yeah. It
But I
is.
turned to him and I said, all right, we can't stay at the water store. We're not going to the chiropractic's office, and we're not opening our own clinic.
Yeah.
We need a place to practice.
Mm-hmm.
He prompted me to send that exact same email that I had sent just 1 week earlier
Yeah.
back to the chiropractor.
Okay.
And this is where I step in and I decide to help God out. And I advise him, the likelihood of someone giving anything but a no when they'd given an emphatic no just 1 week earlier is extremely not likely. You're wasting your time and mine too.
Uh-huh.
Which he said, send the email. I drew it up. I sent the exact same email that I had sent just 1 week earlier,
Yeah.
and I got a response back. Everything that I had requested within the email was now yes.
Oh wow.
Just 1 week earlier.
Just one. So did they say what changed?
I think the dynamics of who the leadership, who was, it's a father son dynamic within that chiropractor. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the dynamics of who was having the leadership role on or hat on really changed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I've missed by now we are full-time chiropractor or massage therapists.
Okay.
Um, but I did miss answering your question, so I'm going to step back for just a minute.
Okay.
And in South Dakota, you can practice for 6 months as a temporary massage therapist after graduation. That's not the way it is in every state, but that's the way it is in South Dakota.
Okay.
And so we did that as we were studying, and this is all taking place at the water store.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it was time to take the Emblex, which we drove to Casper, Wyoming. We were going to take the Miracle car, but a friend stepped forward and said, I don't think you're going to return if you take the Miracle car. I'm going to give you my car. And so they let us use their car to go down to take the 4-hour trip. And when we got there, tension was high. You know, you sit down at these computer terminals and you start answering a 2-hour test.
Yeah.
Well, my wife starts first, and remember, she's got dyslexia.
Yes.
I start after that. And I start looking at the test and I'm thinking, I don't understand any of these questions. These questions don't seem to feel like they relate with what I studied.
Oh no.
I'm looking at them and I said, I'm going to fail this. Now, if we fail, we have no income source.
Right. Right.
I'm going to fail this. This isn't what I studied for.
Panic.
And so I turned to God and I said, God, I can't do this test, but you can. Go ahead. Feel free. I'll just kind of ride along for the ride.
Wow.
I got to the end of the test and I walked out of there. There's a paper turned upside down on the front receptionist desk. I go to that paper, I turn it over knowing that I'm going to see the word fail. I am fully convinced I'm going to see the word fail.
Yeah.
There's no letter F word on the paper at all.
Oh, wow.
I do see a letter P paper on letter P on it though.
Pass. Wow, pass. Well,
but then I think, if I had this much trouble with the test, what about my wife?
Right.
Well, she's downstairs in the lobby at that point. So I go downstairs to find her. Now, I'm what you call an emotional male. I cry, and I'm quite happy about crying.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't. She's crying.
Oh, she was crying.
Now I have to figure out, and now as I'm approaching her, are those tears of joy? Or are those tears of sorrow?
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is she's crying and she doesn't cry. I get up to her and she says a word. I don't hear what she says. She says it again and I hear the word pass.
Oh.
We are now both massage therapists.
Awesome.
Licensed massage therapists in South Dakota. Now back at the chiropractor's office, there's a individual that comes in, and well, we actually have many individuals, and most of our clients don't come from the chiropractic. In fact, we gave the chiropractic office more clients than what they gave us.
Yeah.
So one particular, when the table is across the room here, so the door's here, table is over here, head of the table is over here. I would come in the door and her headrest dropped twice, 2 different times. And I apologize about it and whatnot. She does a series of massages. Then when she gets to the end, I get an email. I want all my money back. You gave me whiplash.
Oh, no.
Well, number one, I was nowhere near the table when that happened. Her hands, however, were up here instead of being down by the side. On the documentation that she did for the soap, she said previous neck injury. What she was trying to do was use a green new massage therapist to pay her
Yep.
medical bills.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I almost gave it to her, and then I said, no, I'm not giving you the. Well, I called my insurance company and I said, if I don't give her my license, am I still covered? They said, well, no, you give her your license information. I said, that wasn't my question. I said, if I don't give her my license, am I still covered?
Yeah.
And they said, well, technically, yes. I said, that's all I need to know from you. Thank you. And I
Uh-huh.
told her, you're not getting my license information. You're not, you there. I've done nothing wrong. No. Well, she went after the state. Well, last person I want to have come into my office as a newbie is the state,
Right. No.
They came in and whatnot. They did an investigation and they could see I was emotionally a basket case.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them on the way out said, I can't speak for the board, but I'll speak for myself. You have nothing to worry about.
Wow.
And I got a letter a little while later that they basically said, we recommend giving her your license information, but there will be no further investigation from us. You are clear. Of course, they're going to recommend that. They're
Yeah.
covering their own backsides.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you can recommend all you want. I ain't doing
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
And I had never heard anything further from them.
Wow. That's great.
So as COVID started to roll out and whatnot, yeah, that is part of the whole story.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
we shut down for about 2 weeks. Now in South Dakota, we were not required to shut down.
Okay.
But we shut down for about 2 weeks and I said, that's enough of this. And when we got back to work,
Mm-hmm.
well, I got COVID.
Uh-huh.
And I took that opportunity during COVID, and I had a very serious bout of it, to write 3 books. I don't slow down. Anyway, what I wasn't able to do during that time is practice.
Yeah.
And we kept on getting the saliva test, which very few people even know was available, rather than the nose swab. I didn't want them sticking anything up my nose.
Mm-hmm.
We kept on getting that, and it kept on coming back positive.
Mm.
Well, the chiropractor said, until you get negative, we ended up being out of business for 30 days.
Wow.
We go into the chiropractic office and we pull everything out and we say, we can't survive that way. We
Yeah.
need to work. Otherwise, this just doesn't make sense. That
Mm-hmm.
was after the 30 days. And so we come home, we set up office here at home just temporarily while we're looking for a location.
Mm-hmm.
And we find one. This one actually is in the more well-to-do area of Rapid City, and it has 2 windows. We spend a lot of time there in that massage room, 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
That window makes such a difference. You'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to have a light come in and be able to see out and just kind of disconnect for a moment and come back to the client. They don't know that that's going on, but it's for their betterment. Whereas if you're just stuck in a cube all day long
Yeah.
without any light source, it's really
Mm-hmm.
tough.
It
At
is.
least it's for my wife and I. And so
Mm-hmm.
we really enjoy that window. Anyway, we've been there almost 2 years now, 2 years this November. And in that whole process, we went from non-existent to now we have over 400 5-star reviews on Google.
Wow.
Our
I
closest,
was reading some of those. Yeah.
there you go.
Impressive. Mm-hmm.
Our closest competitor has been in business since the 90s.
Oh.
They have 160 reviews,
Oh,
and
wow.
nothing like what we do as far as the quality of the review.
Right.
Anyway, that's really a good factor of where we came from, how things happen. I'm sure there's other pieces, but you had other questions also you like about you.
Yeah. Like I was just curious. I didn't read all your reviews, but I know, and probably I could search through those a lot because you had quite a few on there that you put on there. But how have people expressed how you have helped them deal maybe from like a parent standpoint, like, or have you ever worked with kids or adults who are neurodivergent, and or if you haven't had that, what is your knowledge of it? Because I'm sure you've studied enough because you had to pass the test, and have you run across anything that talks about how it's healing or the benefits of it? Because I know some don't like to be touched as much, but I know that also it is very healing to be touched, just like
Absolutely.
your name says.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Absolutely. The answer to that is if people don't like to be touched, sometimes we'll do one answer to it is that we will do fully clothed massages, because that energy, even if you're touching the clothes instead, can transfer through the material.
Mm-hmm.
uh it we have no problem doing it. I've done all sorts of different massages. Fully clothed is not an issue. Yes, we've worked with kids. I think one of the biggest game changers we have, and why we are so well revered or respected in the community, is because we've totally rewritten the massage concept. With a Swedish massage, that's typically a very light massage. You just, that with a deep tissue massage, you're getting in there and well, we don't, we do Swedish on occasion. We have clients that specifically come in for Swedish,
Mm-hmm.
but deep tissue traditional we don't do. And a lot of people don't want to be touched in some ways because they are afraid or concerned about hurting from massage
Right.
therapy.
Yeah.
Um, we have a process that we created doesn't require the traditional pain of a deep tissue massage.
Mm.
And so with that, they're able to feel more comfortable. There are reviews in what you were reading where it says, I was afraid of massage.
Yeah.
And with the way that some people do, there's good reason to be afraid of massage.
Mm-hmm.
With my deep tissue massage instructor, they said, this is the way you will do deep tissue. And my response was, I will pass your class and I will take your tests, but I will never do deep tissue massage the way you're showing,
Yeah.
because I believe that what you're showing and what you're doing is actually damaging to the body.
Mm-hmm. I've
By
had.
the way, stepping back to school just for a moment,
Sure.
um, when I went into the anatomy class and whatnot
Mm-hmm.
and started taking it, I fell in love.
Mm.
I never really understood how amazing the human body was
Oh.
until then. So all my previous trepidation about even getting involved, if I had it to do again and I was 19, I would have
Mm.
gone this way to start with.
Oh wow.
But plus 50, you learn life is worth is you learn to learn life.
Right.
And
Agreed.
it's quite honestly, the whole everything about massage is the best thing I have ever done in my entire life.
Wow.
Another reason that a lot of people like us compared to others, I don't know what your massage experience has been, but there are massage therapists out there. Okay, get on the table, shut up, we're going to do massage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not the way we fly.
Yeah.
We first of all sit down, we, especially if you're new in our office, we sit down and we have an interview with you,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to make sure we have everything, we're targeting everything for exactly what you need in massage and what you're wanting rather than what we can do. Who cares what I can do? You're the one
Mm-hmm.
paying the bill. Shouldn't you be the one getting what you're asking for?
Yes, agreed.
And yet,
Yeah.
most massage therapists don't go that
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
way.
I had an experience like that. That was
Yeah,
not, she was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I was
yeah,
like, I'm not coming back.
right.
Right.
Well, just to empower you in the future, you can say no.
Yeah,
You are the one paying the bill.
exactly.
So when someone goes into anything, if they're saying this is the way it's happening, there's no other way, there's a very simple word that can be used.
Yeah,
No.
no,
Either
I'm
you
not doing
listen to what I need or we're not moving forward.
it. Mm-hmm.
I can
Exactly.
guarantee you that massage therapist, whoever it was, has bills to pay.
Yeah. Yep.
And if they have bills to pay, then they have to, at some level, start listening to their clients,
Yes, I know.
especially if they start seeing clients walking out the door. I
Yeah,
think
she
if
didn't.
there's one thing I would want people to understand about massage therapy, but really anything, you need to be empowered to take
Yeah.
the authority of what you receive from the investment. Massage is an investment of your money.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're just throwing your money at the wall,
Yeah.
hoping that you might get something out of it.
Right. That's true. And I don't think I've ever been, maybe once, to somebody who talked to me first for very much. And sometimes they'll ask me like, do I have any sore spots or whatever. My best one that I had was back in Kentucky, but um we don't live there now. But anyways, he was always very good to listen.
Mm,
Um but yeah, I really do feel like that is something that people don't offer a lot because you have this window of time and seems like
right.
they're,
Well,
yeah.
that's the thing. When we own our own company,
Hmm.
we space our massages out 30 minutes in between. Every
Hmm.
30 minutes, we take another break. That way, we can work with that sort of situation. And
Hmm.
that way, when you start saying like, let's see, is it your right hip? Do you have most trouble with your right hip? Yeah,
Right.
it's not your right hip. You personally, I'm asking, do you
Oh,
personally have? Do you
my
have
right
most?
hip. It's mostly my left one.
Or your left one? Okay, because it's really not your hip. It's your shoulder.
Oh, it's my shoulder.
That's what's going on with you. I can see it.
Yeah, because I've got my arm up higher.
No, there's ways I can see it.
Oh,
Most massage
wow.
therapists cannot see it.
Yeah,
I can see it.
that's interesting.
So next time you go in for a massage,
Yeah,
have them work here on the serratus anterior where hardly any massage therapist works,
right.
and then back around to the lower trapezius and up.
Okay.
That's going to help this down here, the hip down here. But your real problem is your shoulder.
Yes.
You know that.
I do know I have a shoulder issue.
Yes. Okay. Well, there
Yeah.
you go. And that's
Ah.
pretty much kind of what we would do in a conversation
Mm-hmm.
is we would I would sit down and they'd start saying, well, it hurts here and hurts here. And just in matter of conversation, I said, I appreciate the fact that you say that it hurts there, but where your actual problem is this here. Well, it blows
Wow.
people's minds, number one.
It's blowing my
Some of them
mind.
say, how can you know? I mean, you and I have never been in the same state together that I'm aware of.
No.
How can you know by just looking at me that I've and yet no, that's a gift God's given.
Wow. Well, that's a good one.
And
Yeah.
yeah. So any other questions as we're coming to
Go
the
close. No. Well, I think my question would be frequency. If you are going to start like a massage regimen, how is it dependent on the person, dependent on what their lifestyle is, or is there a base that you could throw out for us?
okay. So, have you ever heard of an actor's name called George Burns?
Yes.
What was a nasty habit George Burns
He's a smoker.
had? Not just a smoker,
Oh, what else?
smoker of
Is it cigars?
cigars.
Yeah.
Yes, he was a smoker of cigars.
Hmm.
And what do we know about nicotine?
It's very addictive.
It's very addictive and it shortens life.
Yeah.
And do you remember how old George Burns lived to be?
He was quite old, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was near 100. He was in that range.
Yeah.
Well, how did he? I thought you just
Yeah.
said that if you smokes nicotine, your life shortens. He
Right.
had a long life. He had a massage every day.
Every day.
Now, do I recommend a massage every day? Absolutely. But not
Yeah.
everybody's pocketbook can handle that.
Right. That's
So
true.
if you are doing a treatment type situation, I would recommend for a couple months, depending on the therapist and the progress and whatnot. I'd recommend a couple months trying to do it weekly if your budget can handle that,
Yeah.
and then start backing off to a maintenance of monthly and or every 3 weeks or something like that. But
Yeah.
you've really, in the process, you need to look at your budget
Yeah.
and decide what is realistic,
Hmm.
especially in the world we live in today.
Right.
Then once you have that understood, then you can set a course forward. Of course, the practitioner is going to want you to come in every hour, but you got to know what's realistic for your budget
Right.
and
Yeah,
stay
that's true.
within that.
Hmm.
One thing you don't want to do, if at all possible, is stop. I mean,
Right.
even if it's every couple months, positive changes can come. That's more of a maintenance mode, is every couple months. But even if it's every couple months, positive changes can happen.
Hmm.
Better if you're doing maintenance once or twice every week or every other week. If you're doing more of uh, not maintenance, but uh, uh, well, no, if you're doing a treatment, if
Yeah.
you're trying to correct something every week to 2 weeks,
Yeah.
if you're doing maintenance every month, like month, 2 months, if you're really in a maintenance mode, that'll be enough.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to know. So, one last thing before I go, because you have brought it up, and I feel like it is important. Do we, if we're looking for a good masseuse, is that what you call it, massage therapist?
Massage therapist.
And is the best place to look is their reviews?
Well, it's definitely a
Is that
telling
how?
place,
Mm-hmm.
but
As a
unfortunately,
starting point?
most massage therapists, and I'd say it for other business too, don't understand the value
Mm-hmm.
of getting those reviews. So the
Mm-hmm.
reviews don't really give you a full understanding and a full knowledge of what they have available.
Yeah.
But looking at the reviews is really good. The other thing I would do is I would call the therapist and interview them.
And just okay.
If they're not willing to
That's
be
a good
interviewed, you can find one that is.
right. That's true. And that is a good point because I've never done that. I've never been like, "Hey, what can you do for me?" I've never even thought to do that
But
for that. I mean, you do it for lots of other type of things, but I've never done it for that.
yeah, if you make an investment,
Mhm.
aren't you going to want to know what the investment can do for you?
Yeah, and see,
Massage
I think
is
sometimes
what's that?
yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, what I was gonna say is I don't think people see that as an investment. I think they see that as a luxury sometimes,
Right.
which is an investment, but it's you view it differently, I believe.
Massage is an actual wellness program,
Exactly.
but it's an investment. It's an absolute investment And that's why, earlier on I used the word investment, because it's
Mm-hmm.
if you're taking your money, if you hand me $100 right now, not sure how you're going to do that digitally, but if you hand me $100 right now, are you going to
Mm-hmm.
expect something from me?
Yeah.
Do you think that something should somehow resemble what it is you're giving me the $100 for?
Yes.
Well, there
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Exactly.
go. So the one thing, there's one other thing I really want to cover at this point too. I thought you might be headed this way, but you didn't. I'm going to head that way, and that
That's fine.
is male massage therapists.
Mm.
A lot of people think that if I'm a male massage therapist, I must have ulterior motives.
Mm.
And there are male massage therapists out there that do have ulterior motives. There's
Yeah.
female massage therapists out there that also have ulterior motives.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Understanding the person that is going to be working with you, whether they be male or female, is your best way of knowing if you are safe or not safe. Just because there's a female in the room and not a male does not make you safe.
True.
You're going to be spending an hour, 90 minutes, 120 minutes, however long your massage, with them.
Mm-hmm.
You really are doing yourself a disservice if you don't have at some level an understanding of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
As part of the intake, one of the last questions I ask, this is completely empowered by you, but I have one more question for you. And that question is, when I come back into the room before I start your massage, may I say a prayer? I've had people tell me no, and I
Mm-hmm.
respect that.
Yeah.
I've had people tell me yes, and I cherish that.
Mm-hmm.
What but that question right there, especially since I am a man and typically they are a female, though there are males that go to get massaged too.
Mm-hmm.
That question right there in many cases, it removes any concern, because, well, if I'm a praying person, I'm probably not going to be a praying person.
Right. Yes.
So
That's a good point.
that said,
Mm-hmm.
let me just go ahead and give a couple shout outs, if I may, about different ways people can connect with me.
Yes, please do. Please do. I was going to ask you to do that.
Awesome. So basically, the best way to connect with me is on Instagram as Pain Relief, the number 4, the letter U. Pain Relief for you. But you can also connect to me as it relates to Massage Therapy Direct on gracefultouch.org. If you happen to be in the Rapid City, South Dakota area, I look forward to working with you. You can also get a hold of me with a product line of over 50 different natural, certified, organic, plant-based products at gracefultouchproducts.org. Those are the best ways to connect up. Any other questions for us today, Brooke?
I don't think so. I think you did an excellent job explaining everything.
Awesome. Well, hang on the line just real quick while I wrap up the line, and I just want to chat with you for a quick moment.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, that's the story of Graceful Touch and how we started. If you want to get interviewed directly, look me up on Instagram, Pain Relief for You, and let me know, send me a message of where you'd like to get interviewed and why, as it relates to health and wellness, which can be mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. I'm open, because I believe as we work on all those areas combine to create whole body wellness.